I've always been the odd one out because of my queerness. I've always been rejected because of that. So I'm like, I'll just do what I want.
So I need a little bit more pragmatism in my life, and I think that I might have found it. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone like on this show, outside of this show, at any point, in any way. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone who is more pragmatic than this week's guest. Everything that comes out of his mouth is pure pragmatism. And that kind of sounds like I'm slagging him off. I'm not. Like, I'm actually in awe after this conversation. It was so useful for me to talk to someone who has such a totally different perspective to me and who approaches life in a different way to me. It was just really useful. Anyway, who am I talking about? I am talking about the comedian Sam C. Now, we got together to talk about Play Club, which was a club in Singapore, and it's where he kind of got his start as a comedian. He went there to like an open mic type night and did a set, and then kind of caught the bug and went from there. We talked about what it was like growing up queer in Singapore, how Sam's queerness informs his comedy and how his comedy informs his queerness, and what it was like to be at an all-boys school. And I think you know exactly where that conversation leads, but I'll let Sam tell you in his own words. Before we dive in, if you are not already subscribed to my newsletter, Queer Word, where I promise to help you get a little bit queerer in under 5 minutes every week by sharing and exploring queer vocabulary, then you are missing out. This week, in honor of Sam, I will be including some Singaporean queer slang that you can start slipping into your everyday conversation. If that sounds of interest to you, then be sure to sign up before Friday. All the details are in the show notes for this episode. All right, enough from me. My name is Kay Anderson. You are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that is all about the memories left behind in our lost queer spaces. Let's get into the episode.
Singapore has always been a very fascinating country, not just to myself, but to a lot of people. It is, I guess, an enigma on how it works. Because on the one hand, you have a country that can be described as totalitarian, a lot of government control, but also a space where freedoms are given that other countries don't have. Like, on one hand, you can be fired for being gay and that still stays in the books. On the other hand, you can have state-sponsored abortions. We're capitalists and socialists at the same time. We are left-wing and right-wing. Nothing makes sense. And as a queer person growing up in that environment, I didn't have a lot of good queer representation on TV. We had like a drag queen stand-up comedian who everyone knew was gay, wasn't out at the time, and their whole thing was very sissified, codification sissified, and like sort of making fun of gay people. Even after coming out, she still bags on gay people, trans people, people with pronouns, drag queens.
What, a drag queen criticizing drag queens?
Yeah, going like, oh, it's too vulgar. And I'm like, you were the ideal vulgar back in the day. So what are you talking about? Complaining when people swear on stage. I'm like, you used to run a sort of cabaret called the Boom Boom Room where people got their balls out. What do you mean swearing's too much? Go fuck yourself. And yeah, so I didn't really have a lot of queer representation. I grew up, I'm not the most masculine person. I'm a nerd, so I didn't have a good childhood. I didn't have a great time growing up. I was also very much spicy though, so that made it even harder. And when I was 14 in secondary school, the word got out that I was gay and got heavily bullied day in, day out for that.
Ooh. Okay, so 14 is when this happened at school. Word got out, but was that just a rumor, or was it that you'd actually
no, it's 100% true. Another gay guy and I gave each other how yeah I saw the YouTube clip of this show. We can get into it. So yeah, we were giving each other blowjobs, and then
Wow.
they the bullies cornered the other guy, and the other guy went, well, it's all Sam's idea. So I became main target. I got gay snitched on.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got bullied for years, and yeah, but that's okay. I mean, it's an all boys school, and the bullies also wanted blowjobs. So hey,
Oh, okay, wait. There's too many threads here. Let's not talk about the blowjobs for the time being. I do want to hear about the blowjobs.
no.
But let's go back further. When was the first inkling for you of I might be gay?
I don't really. I'm trying to like pull back the curtain. I think it was. I mean, for me, my discovery was not as polite as most others. I think most other people have a, oh, I saw this show and I saw that, and oh, that's how I knew. For me, it was straight up. I was looking at porn, and I was going through every category, and I was like, no, not for me, not for me. And I found this category. I was like, oh, I love this. What's this? Gay. Oh, guess I like gay. I didn't even know it was a term. I was just like, guess I like gay. I like the concept of it. How delightful.
What? What? So you were just like, yeah, okay, not really interested in MILF, not really interested in big titties, not really interested
Yeah.
in, I don't know, what happens in straight porn?
A lot of screaming. I've seen it a few times. It's quite under duress. Like that's the best I can describe it. Is the performer is constantly under duress. They are constantly yelling. Absolutely cannot stop yelling about either how great it is or how much pain she's in. And I'm like, my goodness, stop.
Okay. So you went through these categories, you stumbled upon this one category called gay, and you were like, yes, I think this might be for me. And in having that realization, was there any shame, I guess, that came along with that? Or were you just like, well, I guess this is what I am, off we
Yeah,
go?
I think for me it was like very matter of fact. It was like, oh, this is good. And then I mean I grew up Christian, and at that point I hadn't heard the gays go to hell speech.
Oh, why not? Well, that's
I
weird.
guess they were too busy doing the other. I was told Pokemon was the devil. I was one of those churches.
Oh,
So
they were making their way up to it.
yeah, like they were progressing through the bigotry. Like gay bigotry is like level 10. You gotta get through Dungeons and Dragons being satanic first. Let's go for the easy ones.
Oh, wow.
Let's go for the simple ones. Rock music will kill your soul. Yeah, we even genuinely stole songs. I think it happens in the UK as well. Like they stole like pop songs and then changed the lyrics to be Christian.
Oh,
So instead of "I want to hold your hand" by the Beatles, "I want to hold his hand."
who's he? The preacher?
Jesus. Well, I'm Anglican. We don't touch the children. We just rip them off.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, no worries.
Anglican were too money-minded to be pedophiles. So we were just too focused on the financial focus, which I guess in some ways good, healthier,
Yeah.
better for humanity.
Well,
So
anyway, so you were saying I have a feeling
Yes.
we're gonna go right off track very many times
Oh,
in
yeah,
this conversation. But you were saying
this is my podcast specialty. I have checked. I am very good
no.
at being the longest episode, being the most off track episode. We will go for miles. There'll be parts like, can we put this in the podcast? That is my specialty as a guest.
Oh, God.
This will be long. Strap in, kids.
well, us two together is gonna be terrible. Okay, so you were in the church, but you hadn't received that message yet of like, oh, gay bad. Don't be gay.
Yeah, never got that. When I did get it, I was a bit like, oh, why? And then I asked questions, talked to the pastors about it. Like, it wasn't like straight up like, why are gays wrong? But it was like, there's some stuff in the Old Testament that you say are bad, but in the New Testament, they're fine. So which one do I believe in? And they were like, money, please. So that's how I lost my religion, because they couldn't really quite give a kosher answer. And then I was like, oh, all these people online hate gay people. But then that's about the time when Glee came out, and I'm like, I've got a gay character, kind of cute twink. He's getting awards and people like him, so I guess gay isn't that bad. They're just idiots. That's the way I felt about it. Like being gay and being queer was difficult amongst that group of people that I was in, but I could see the outside world people liked it. So yeah, I guess that's how I kept going in that sense.
Okay, so the way that you're telling this story, there's a lot of rational thinking here and not very much emotional thinking, which is fine.
Like I said, spicy.
So there was no feeling of guilt. There was no feeling of like, oh, how am I going to tell people? How is this going to play out?
I mean, I still had that fear of like coming out to people, but I didn't really have friends till I was like 16 to 18. Like, let me just check. Yeah, about 16 to 18 was the first time I had friends. So coming out was never an issue before then.
Oh, okay.
At that point, there was no one to really talk to about it.
Not family?
Family, I mean, they were super Christian. I didn't want to talk to them about any of them. Anytime I brought up something vaguely related to that, they were like, "Ooh, you're going to hell," and I'm like, "I'm not talking to you."
And so making that decision then, being like, okay, I'm not going to tell my family, did that feel difficult, or that there was a conflict within you at all? Or was that just like, no, this is just what I have to do to survive?
Yeah, I think so. I think I didn't really have conflict. My family life was a bit weird. Like, my dad was always away for business work. My mom was a teacher in my school and my tuition teacher, because we have a tuition in Asia to like pick up my studies. So I never really saw them as the warm, fuzzy parental figures that I think a lot of the West does. So for me, it's just very, I guess I'm living with y'all now,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna tell you everything because y'all don't tell me everything. So it's just fair exchange.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So then at some point when you were 14, you figured out that there was another boy in your school that might want to experiment with you.
Yeah.
And I'm always super fascinated by these stories because it's not something that happened to me. And I think I would have been so, like, way too terrified to initiate anything. So I'm really interested to hear, like, how it happened, what happened, how you both figured each other out, whether you just had really highly honed gaydar.
I think because, I mean, it's an all boys school, so like hormones are off the charts, and people want to talk about dicks. And it was just like a very normal conversation of two guys just hanging out. I think it was, yeah, at my place. And then it came to, oh, what does your penis look like? And then took off the pants and looked, and then we both got like very hot and very excited. And I'm like, what do we do about this now?
But okay, so who asked?
And he had a big dick too. That was nice. That was good.
But, like, how do you just casually ask someone, oh, what's your penis like?
It's an all boys school. Dicks get out all the time. And sometimes the ones you want, sometimes, and most of the time, the ones you don't. It's like just a bunch of dudes.
This is just something I'm never going to understand.
If you don't go to an all boy rugby school, you're never gonna understand dicks out. People are literally throwing shit on the ceiling. This is just weird.
Oh, that I understand. That's fine. That's
Yeah. That's classy. What's the best bit? Yeah, I guess it's kind of hiding in the audacity of it. Isn't it so audacious to do? Isn't it so weird that we're doing this? Yeah, but because it's so weird, it just seems normal after a while.
Okay. So approximately what percentage of your classmates saw your penis?
I think 40 in a class. How many people did I sleep with back then? 25%?
Wow.
I mean, that's just a rough estimate, but I mean, I saw their penises too.
I just...
One of them had a micro penis that was sad.
Okay, I think maybe I'll never understand this. I think maybe I just have to accept that this is the kind of thing that goes on. And
In all boys schools, yeah.
yeah, I just cannot imagine being like 14, being so terrified of my body and so terrified of like everything about my existence, and then just being like, oh, hey, what's your penis like? Okay, so you got to this point with this classmate where you just casually brought up your penises, and then all of a sudden they were whipped out. How did it then go from you two sleeping together to everyone in the school finding out?
So the what I was led to believe, I've never asked him to this day, but what I knew at the time and what I know now is that basically the bullies were bullying him, and then they were like, well, who else have you done it with? And then he went, this is all Sam's idea, which wasn't, it was his idea.
Like the record state.
And then they went, well, let's pick on the main homo. And then I sadly got fingered, and not in the way I wanted to.
But, okay. And then what did that mean for your friendship? Was that just your friendship over because he threw you under the bus?
A little bit, I kept trying to ask for more sex, but he was reticent at best.
Oh, okay. So you were willing to forgive.
I mean, for that dick, yeah. If the dick's good enough, you know this. If the dick's good enough,
Oh, yeah.
you'll be like, it's a
Dignitized.
bit of an asshole, but I mean, the sex was good.
Oh, why are we like this?
Beep, humans, we have wants and needs. We want that dick, and we need that dick.
I think that's the name of the episode. Got it. And so was that effectively your coming out, or did you deny it? Did you say like no?
I mean, I denied it at the time because saying yes would have been, well, let's bully him even harder. So I was like, no, what are you talking about? Never happened. And they kept bullying me every day about it. Yeah. But, over time, it was like, yeah, it's obvious to everyone and the blind that I was very gay.
And you said that you didn't have friends until you were 16.
16, 18, after I left secondary school and went to Polytechnic or Technical College. And that's when I started making friends because they were like, we don't care. I went to an IT and video game programming, so they really didn't care. Because they were all just a bunch of nerds. Like, yeah, okay, sure. Do what you like. Cool, bruh.
What? And so was it like you didn't have to come out because everyone was just like,
I mean, I still had to come out, and it was nerve-wracking because I'm like, oh, fuck, these are the first people that I have who are friends. I could lose them that way.
Okay, so you were in Polytechnic. That's when you were out for all intents and purposes. When did you start to think, maybe I'm gonna like go out and explore the queer scene?
I think it was like with my friends then, because at that point we were drinking underaged and we were, it's all fun and all that. And then through them, I found other gay people, and that's when I learned about the gay bars. Of course, we were like, oh, we got to go check it out. Well, when I turned 18, I was like, we can now go to the gay bars and check it out.
Oh, so you didn't try and sneak in underage?
The bar we went to where we could drink underage was a bar that wouldn't card us, but I'm not bragging, but I still get carded to this day at 31, so you can imagine how young I looked at 17. Like a tottering fetus. That was a best way to describe me. So just like, we can drink here because they're scum, but there's no way I could sneak into a gay bar.
Well, and so we're here to talk about a bar called Play today.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first time at that bar?
I don't think I remember my first time there, but I remember my first few times there. Like, it's your usual bounce on the door, very plain entrance, it's not to arouse suspicion. And the club was it's a very simple club. It was like empty dance floor, booth seats to the left and right as you come in, concrete floor, bars at the back. There's a stage and little sort of dressing room at the side. And DJs on the stage as well. Very simple, not that big. It's not the biggest club in the world, but that's all we technically had at the time.
Well, okay, so tell me about what was going on in your life at this time.
18, I had kind of just lost all my friends from Polytechnic due to like the miscommunication. So I was like back to being friendless. But then because of that, I had started to hang out with my gay friends more and hang out a lot of my gay friends. And it was like a really fun friend group. I'm still friends with, I would say, I can find a picture, but I'm still very close friends with all of them to this day.
Aww.
It's a really close group of friends. And of course, we went to go for drinks, we went to the club. And at the time, I also started to get interested in stand-up and watched a lot more stand-up. In fact, that's where I got more gay representation because of YouTube. Because after watching that terrible Singapore drag queen... I would say terrible. And then because drag queen stand-up comedian, the next suggestion was, of course, Eddie Izzard. So I started to see more Eddie Izzard. I saw more UK comedy where people were gay. It was fine to be gay. It was like perfectly normal. It was a joke point, and it's not punching down, it's punching up, which was fun and unique. And I got really excited. And I only started stand-up comedy because of Play, the club, because there was this talent competition that they were running. And at the time, I really loved singing. Loved to sing jazz. Had a YouTube channel, didn't get a single fucking view, because who the fuck wants to see a small child sing jazz?
Wait. So have you hung up your jazz streams?
Still there, but I do stand up. God willing, it'd be fun if I could do one of those old school, like, hey, I'm gonna sing some songs and then tell some jokes and sing some songs. But I think that's for like, if the career takes off,
Later
that's like a
on.
fun little diversion tour I can do.
Oh, okay.
But for now, I have to just focus on the bread and butter. What a weird career path. I really gotta be good at stand up so I can sing.
Break into the world of jazz.
The world of jazz crooning. Michael Bublé's had it too good for too long. It is my time to shine. Yeah, so I entered their competition. But the weird thing with the competition is that it wasn't like, hey, do your act. It was, please fill 5 minutes.
Oh.
Which so weird. Yeah. If I look back and I was like, what a weird idea. So I didn't have enough, like the song I wanted to sing was because I knew like I can't sing jazz, they're gonna get bored. I need to sing something that I think it's fun. So I chose Rehab by Amy Winehouse.
Fun.
Yeah, fun, funky,
Fun.
something also in my range. Yes. That's still my go-to karaoke song to this day. So I was like, okay, I can sing the song, but then it's not that long, I need to fill it. So I was like, why don't, I see all this stuff with like the Rat Pack, why don't I do some jokes?
Oh, wow.
So the jokes were terrible. They told me not to do the jokes. Cut it from the fucking set, just sing, asshole, all fill the time. But when I was auditioning and did those jokes, one of the other competitors came up to me, who was a drag queen. She went, hey, I do stand-up. Let's go to the open mic together. Now, I don't know if they wanted to help me out or they wanted to bang, but I was like, sure.
Could have been both.
Could have been both. So I had never really even heard of an open mic before. And then here I am at this comedy open mic, and it's amazing. It's stellar, and it's so electrified and exciting. And I'm like, I want to do this. So the next week, and serendipity abound, the next week was genuinely April 1st. That's the first day I ever started doing stand-up comedy. Jumped up and never looked back. And if it wasn't for me doing stand-up to fill the time at this talent competition, and if it wasn't for that drag queen, I wouldn't be a stand-up comedian. I wouldn't be in the UK right now. I would still be a struggling video game programmer.
Well, okay. So prior to this, when you were like, I'm just going to add some patter in order to fill the 5 minutes, had you ever conceived of yourself as a comedian?
No, I mean, I had to do it once back in secondary school because people dropped out and I just stole some material from Eddie Izzard. But like, I never like thought like, oh, I want to be a stand-up comedian. That was never a dream or an intention or an idea.
Did you ever think that you were funny?
Ooh, what a good question. No one's ever asked me that before. I don't think of myself. I don't even think I was funny. I struggled to order food at a McDonald's. I had issues talking to strangers or even people I fancied. Like, I never saw myself as a engaging, charismatic person that could even like have chit chat for 5 minutes to an audience and make them laugh. That sounds impossible, but I guess I did in the end. I never was the funny guy.
Yeah, so you were never like dropping jokes and being like, why doesn't anyone appreciate my talent?
No, I was there, but with like the jazz stuff. Like, what do you mean you don't want to hear an Ella Fitzgerald stand?
Oh, how interesting. So then you've done this audition. They have said to you, maybe just stick to the singing, maybe don't do the comedy. But then this drag queen comes up to you and says, why don't we go to the open mic together?
Yeah.
But do you remember what you were thinking in the days before the open mic?
I think I was just like, oh, let's just see what this is. I think I was just more curious than anything.
But then what was the switch that flicked in your brain that you were like, yeah, I'm going to do this?
I think it was like the comedy was good, the reactions were amazing, and there were people that sucked. That's also the key thing. There were people on that show that sucked, and I was like, I can do better than that. I'm funnier than that.
God bless the people that suck.
Yeah, like there is a genuine thing where some like performers, even comics performers, do at the Edinburgh Fringe where they just like go watch a bad show and make yourself feel so much better about your career.
Oh yes, yeah. Because absolutely, if you're like, wow, that person has enough belief in themselves to put this show on and do all of this, and they're terrible. Why don't I believe in myself?
Yeah.
Okay, getting off track. So you saw it, you were like, yeah, I could do this. I'm going to do this. Why don't I like put something together and go on the 1st of April? How do you go about that? Like, how do you structure a set?
At that time, I didn't know. I was just like, I guess write some jokes, talk about the weird, funny things that's been happening to me.
Yeah.
That was it. Practice in front of a mirror. practice in front of my camera, watch it back, and like, yeah,
Oh.
they'll laugh there. They'll laugh there.
Well, and so did you take it seriously though, or was
Yeah.
it just okay?
I fully took it seriously. I don't know if I still have the footage of me practicing it because I remember practicing it, which is, by the way, don't do that if you're trying to start stand up. There's no point practicing in front of a mirror or to your camera. Just go on stage. That's the best thing to do.
Well, and okay, and so let's imagine it's the day of this first performance, and you've just woken up. What are you thinking?
Jesus, this is more than a decade ago, so I'm just trying to recall. I think I was just like, oh, let's see what happens. I think it was just excitement. Fear and excitement.
Okay. Like how? Okay, fear and excitement. What's the percentages here?
Both 100%.
Full throttle fear, full throttle excitement.
Yeah, just let's do this. I was just really like eager to go and, going over the set the whole time and then getting to the venue early and then just trying to settle in and prepare and then learning. On that day, there was another newbie, another debut going on before me. And I'm like, oh shit. And then he goes on and he's good. And I'm like, oh shit.
No. Oh, that's terrible.
And I think I did fine. I don't think I did amazing, but I did fine. Like, respectable. Like, okay, not bad for a first time.
yeah, you didn't make a complete ass of yourself.
The other newbie did significantly better than me.
Ah, but okay. So you've done the performance. You've come off the stage. What are you feeling?
Ooh, I want to do that again. I fucked up some parts. I want to do it better. Can I come back next week? How does it work? Like, I'm just curious, like, what happens next? What do we do next?
And was that it then? Were you locked in from then on? Like, yes, this is my calling.
I don't think I was like locked in straight away. I was kind of like vibing it out. Like, I was like, oh, I want to come back next week. I want to see more shows. And then after that, I went to another show and they were like, hey, we need someone to help out and we'll pay. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help out. And then I started to help run a show. And then I was like, oh, this is really fun. I want to keep doing this. And after a while, I realized, oh, this is kind of cool. Let's do this. Like, eventually almost being sort of slowly invited into the community and just being able to like work in it.
Yeah. Well, and tell me about the relationship with this drag queen. Did that evolve at all?
No, after a few, like, I think less than a year later, she stopped doing stand-up. I would see her from time to time at the bars, but that's about it.
And so this is kind of a bit of a cloying, overly sentimental question, but I'm going to ask it
Please.
anyway. What is it about comedy that you love?
I think it's just that it can't be anything. I'm a person that likes to pick up stuff and then put it down very quickly because I'm like, oh, shiny, and then, okay, next thing, oh, shiny, okay, next thing. As a person who likes video games, the whole point of video game is that you can eventually finish it.
Yeah.
Or you get to a point where you're bored of it.
Yeah.
But the whole joy of it is either finishing a game, getting all the achievements. There are end goals. That doesn't apply to stand-up because there is no end. There is no end to a career.
I thought we already agreed that the end goal was you going on a tour performing jazz standards.
I mean, that's a end goal, but then once that goal is met, there will be new goals. That's the whole beauty of it. It's like,
I thought you were just using it as a jumping pad into jazz.
yeah, there's more. There's always more. And that's the thing. There's always more to find. I didn't expect to go into improv comedy, but then, boom, there it is. I didn't expect to be on TV. Boom, there it was. I didn't expect to move to the UK. Boom, here I am. That's a fun thing. Every end goal is just the start point of a new one.
Well, and so the point that you were making is you are the kind of person that likes things where there is an end goal because you like video games.
Yeah.
So then why do you like comedy if there is no end goal?
I think to sort of clarify the point, it's not that I liked it because there was an end goal. It's just I like things and there is an end goal.
Okay.
But with stand-up, there isn't an end goal. It will always just be whatever you want to do. That's the joy of it. You will never finish a joke. That's the beauty of it. A joke is never done. Because you can keep perfecting a joke, but there will always be more things to add on. And a joke is only done when you say it's done. A joke is finished when it is not done anymore. That is when a joke is truly finished, when it is no longer told.
Okay, wait, I might have to unpack this. Might have to ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, please. I mean, because the thing is that let's say where the chicken cross the road to get to another site, but then people keep adding on stuff, improving stuff, changing things, and then the joke is only truly finished and complete when you no longer tell it. Because there's nothing left that you want to add. Not because there's nothing left to add, you're done with the joke. And that's when it's truly finished.
But so your jokes, so when you write a joke and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is so funny, this is going to kill him. And then you go and you perform it. And then you're like, oh, I maybe should have put the emphasis on this word, or maybe should have done this, or maybe should have like had a bit more of a gap here.
Rearrange. And, yeah.
And then you like fiddle with it and you play with it and you refine it and you get it to a point. Is there not a point where it is just perfect and then any more tampering is going to fuck it up?
No, because remember, the joke may be the same, but the audiences always change. I might need to change the joke for a different audience. I might to change the emphasis for certain audiences. I might have to ramp it up, slow it down, speed it up, take out some elements if it's a bit too, if it's not right for this crowd. So the joke can never be finished because there is no way a joke can be finished because everyone will hear the joke differently. My job and what I like is to try to adjust the joke so everyone can laugh at it. Not every comic does that. That is up to their prerogative. Some comics are very much, here's the joke, you don't like it, go fuck yourself. I'm like, no, like me, please.
I'm really funny, like me.
Yeah, so that's for me. It's like, I can never be done with a joke because there is no conceivable way that a joke is perfect. It can never be perfect because one way of telling it will give a different reaction from another way. Like, there are jokes even to this day where I'm done with a joke or I've already buried it and I'm now like, oh shit, I should have told it that way, or if I had changed that would have made it funnier.
Oh, wow.
A joke is never done till you're done with it. Till it's dead and buried, that's when a joke is complete.
And so, how do you feel your queerness informs your comedy?
Oh, immensely. Like, I am a gay person and I was openly gay at a time in Singapore where it was illegal. I was performing in a lot of countries where it was illegal, like Brunei and Malaysia and Oman. I'm performing in places where if they find out, I can get fined or go to jail. So it does inform my comedy. It makes me want to talk about it more and shout about it more and share more about it with people.
But so in those countries, were your sets openly talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow, that's so brave.
And sometimes I get told, like, hey, can you tone it down? And I'll try. But, I mean, I'll do a nod and a wink. I've done the, well, legally I'm not gay, I'm straight. But if I were gay, here's the jokes I would do.
Well, and how do audiences in those countries respond?
So great. They love it. Because it's like, they've never seen that before. Some of them might be gay themselves, they're not open. Some of them are okay with gay people. They don't like the law, it's just the law of the land. And it's now like, this is something they've never seen and they've never heard. And it's exciting and it's fresh and it's different. And it's live. It is, like I said, the thrill of live entertainment. It's like, holy shit, you could go to jail for this. And I'm like, not on stage being overtly vulgar. I'm not a very overtly vulgar performer.
Oh, that's a shame.
In terms of sexuality, I swear like a mother, I swear like a sailor, but I don't like going on stage painting violent sexual imagery because I wouldn't like that too if I had some onion rings to eat.
Make you look at the onion ring in a different way though, wouldn't it?
You know, one wishes, but I too wish it was covered in mustard. But when it comes to like the performances and it being live like that, it's really exciting. It's terrifying, don't get me wrong, it is terrifying and it was and still is, but it's my job.
But okay, but that's you telling me how you injected your queerness into your set. But I don't know if that quite answers how your queerness informs your comedy, like, or informs you as a performer.
I think for me, being queer in this space is like I was always an outsider, so if I want to do something different, I don't feel as not shamed, but almost like awkward about it. I'm just like, I've always been the odd one out because of my queerness. I've always been rejected because of that. So I'm like, I'll just do what I want. I have a bit more fearlessness when it comes to trying new ideas or putting on shows that might be like financially not the most healthy, but having that fearlessness to just go, yeah, I'll do it. Because I have seen that being different does work, and having that fearlessness can change a lot. Like, no one from Asia has moved to the West to continue their career. I am the first one. That is insane. Not just because of, like, my credits are useless here. No one cares about anything I did in Asia. They don't understand it. My currency is weaker. I've lost half of my life savings just from the exchange rate. This is an incredibly foolish, silly idiotic idea. Someone's got to do it. Why not me? Why not the guy that everyone that never quite fit in?
Well, and are you saying that because you never fit in, because you were always on the outside, rather than your response being, how do I get on the inside? You were just like, oh, well, I guess this is the way that things are. Off we go.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I'll if you're gonna put me on an island, I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna make an island, and
How
I'm here.
fascinating.
As much as at times I would like, oh, I like to play with the big boys. I want to be in that circle and be that person and famous. I also sometimes need to pull myself back and go, but I'm not that guy. I will never be like that. That's fine because that's not who I am as a performer. If I try to get in that circle and be like that, I won't be me. And being me has gotten me here. Of course, we have to bend and mold and shape ourselves to be more palatable and be more acceptable to the common people. But at the end of the day, it's still being able to bring your thing. The worst kind of labeling you can get is you're the next so and so. You're the next this. You remind me of a young this, because then you're not known for being you. You're just an echo of somebody else.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be an echo of somebody else. I want to be me.
But when you have those moments when you're like overly admiring other people or like wanting to play with the big boys, and like as you've described, how do you check yourself? How do you bring yourself back?
Realize I'm not a straight white man.
So what's that? Looking in the mirror?
Yeah, just going, oh yeah. I'm not going to be like a main feature on BBC. I'm not going to be hosting a Beijing show. I know what I look like. I know what I sound like. So, okay, what can I do then? With the things that make me unique, how can we make something unique out of that in itself? Because I can't get to that level. I can't get to that platform. So how do we build a platform that I can be on?
Is it that you can't get to that platform, or you can't get to that platform using the same game moves that they're using?
Yeah, it's like I don't have the opportunities, I don't have the background, I don't have various things.
Yeah.
Both immutable facts or just friendships even. So if I can't have that, there is no point me sitting down there praying or wishing or hoping or being jealous of the fact I can't get that, because that's just not who I am. That's not the things I have.
Yeah.
I have the things I have. That means I can get platforms that they can't. So let's find them. Let's explore and see what those platforms are. I don't see them right now. That doesn't mean they aren't there.
Yeah. Okay, going all over the place. We knew this was going to happen, but let's bring us back to play.
Oh yeah, forgot. We should talk about the club.
Were there any other adventures that you got up to in that space?
I did come second in that competition, so I had free entry to the club for a year, which I loved.
Ah.
Yeah, so I got second place. The drag queen came in first because you're not going to beat the drag queen. So I got free entry.
Oh, amazing.
And then iPod Shuffle, the square. Which I'm like, it's 2012. Even then, it was outdated. I think they just had one lying around. They're like, yeah, you get this too, I guess. Just trying to clear stock. Like, here's this and half a tube of Mentos. Congratulations. Yeah, and went to the bars, drank, like I said, made lots of friends. I'm still friends with today. Still club with some of them to this day. Yeah, it's so weird because when I was like 18, 19, 20, I thought my clubbing would be more wild, but because we were young twinks and kids, we were just like, yeah, let's just dance and maybe we'll go back with somebody, but yeah. And now we're just like, yeah, let's fucking get our tits out and everything. Like, people are dancing in their underwear. I'm like, why are we more sexually comfortable in our 30s than we were in our 20s when we were clearly in a better shape?
Oh, but that's not a mystery to you, is it? I think that's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Is it? I find it fascinating because I'm like, what, besides, confidence in yourself, what, like, because it's body. It's like your body is significantly not as, unless you are like working out but your body in your 30s is not as hot as you were in your 20s. And these are also, my friends are all twinks, so clearly the sell by date isn't as strong as it used to be, you know what I mean? Yeah, so it's like a thing where, but now we're like more like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And we're much more comfortable. And I find it fascinating, confusing and fascinating that somehow looking worse gives you more confidence to be sexy.
No, I don't think that's the lesson. Isn't the lesson that like the gift of getting older is you stop giving a shit?
That too, but also just being comfortable with just like, I'm not the best looking person in this club. fuck it. I'm gonna enjoy it. It's like, because back then it's that fear of like, but I'm not an 8, I'm not a 9. I'm like, fuck. If you can be, I'm a 4, I'm gonna have a good time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That should be the lesson. Like, who cares about what your body is?
It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because no one is going to find you attractive if you're like super timid and hiding and like just like cowering.
A lot of people found me attractive back then, and they were creeps.
Oh, okay.
Mostly the creeps.
Okay. So some people will find you attractive if you're like hiding yourself
Monsters,
and cowering.
not people. Monsters.
Okay. What were we saying? Monster, when you're cowering, when you're scared of people. Oh yeah, you're not attractive to anyone. So why do we think that like if we're just hiding and like making ourselves as small as possible, somehow that will up our odds of hooking up and going home with someone?
Yeah, I think it's just like the acceptance of just, hey, this is who I am. In the same way that in my career has been like, yeah, I've been odd one out. I've always been different, and I'm like, oh, let's sell it. Let's work with that. I know some people like that. I know a lot of people like that. I can't always sell to the mainstream, but there's a lot of other ways to get to the river, honey.
Someone is going to enjoy your nipples.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a straight up thing. You are sexually attractive to somebody out there. Sometimes for good, and most of the time for bad.
But if it's for bad, you can maybe work it into your comedy set.
Yeah. And if that dick is good, it is the dick you want. Say it with me. And the dick you need. You get a dick. You get a dick. You get a dick.
Oh, this is taking a weird turn. Okay, so play closed in like 2015?
Yeah, about there.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming you were still living in Singapore at the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing about it closing? Do you remember your response?
I was just like, that sucks. It was just like kind of like,
It was just a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I'm quite used to bad news in my life.
Aww.
It's just something that's for better. I think, yes, I had a hard career in life, but it also means that now when something bad happens, I'm able to look at it more objectively and thankfully move on from it faster and quicker.
I feel like there's not really anything that you've looked at from an emotional perspective in your life based on the information that you've shared with me today.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of right about that. I think because for me, it's just more of like I have these emotions, but I know it's like we can feel things, but let us solve this and we can feel them later. But let's deal with it now, and then once we have our own quiet time, we can deal with it. But we need to make decisions, choices. We have to carry on. And the best way to carry on is to just deal with the problem head on, and then in your quiet moments, have your emotions about it.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
Friends have died, people I know have died, and I've had to just be stiff upper lip about it because I have to take care of the stuff. People come to me for questions. I've had a number of friends in comedy die, and because I'm the more responsible one, these are sometimes grown-ass people in their 40s and 50s bawling their eyes out, and I'm in my 20s, and I have to be like,
Yeah.
I pride myself on my responsibility in that sense, and I have those emotions, but at this point in time, someone's got to be daddy, and I'll step up, and then later on I'll cry, and then I'll feel bad, but I'll do it.
But then when it comes out later on, does it not come out in weird and unexpected ways?
No, I'm controlled. I'm a professional, darling. Professional, and that's why I drink a lot of alcohol. No, it's controlled. Yeah, I think it's just like it makes me think more. I'm a person who likes to think and ponder, and things like this. It helps me to consider things I've never seen before, consider viewpoints I've never heard of, and put myself in positions that I never dreamed of. And I think that's healthy to consider more than you normally would, and find emotions that you never knew you have, in a healthy way, of course, and without drugs.
Yeah. Like, I guess for me, one of the things that I'm recognizing about myself as I get older is that I don't respond. It takes me ages to process things. And so when something emotional happens, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, it's fine. And then 3 weeks later, it will like leak out in this weird way that I don't immediately link back to that thing. And I'm just like, what's going on? Why am I so sad? And like, it's this, a mess. I'm a mess.
I think for me, it's like compartmentalizing. It is because, like I said, having bad news for so long, I'm so used to it, but also because my job is I need to react
Yeah.
to things if they happen. And if I sort of have heavy emotions and am too much of a mess, I can't do my job and I can't help the people and do the thing I love. So I've trained myself to compartmentalize like, okay, this is horrible news, but let us get out of this, let us do this, and then once we are all done, I can deal with it emotionally. But for now, we have to deal with it as is. Like a horrible, genuinely horrible example was that last year, a good friend of all of ours in the comedy scene in the Edinburgh Fringe was in hospital, and then out of nowhere, she unfortunately passed. And a lot of us were crestfallen. I literally had to do my solo show minutes after I got the news. And I was like, this sucks, but I have a show to do. These people came here for a show. I need to do my job. So took a shot of whiskey, did the show. And then after it was done, didn't do any extra shows, went to the bar with everybody else to get like sit down and process it emotionally through drinks and just talking it all over and having a bit of a cry. But I knew my job at that point is to the people there and that job to myself. Because I don't think if I let myself fly off the handle, I know I won't deal with it well. I don't think anyone would.
Yeah.
So it's better to sort of be in control in that
Yeah.
sense. Not in a cold, like, we will have no emotions, but in a more like, let's be responsible about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand what you're saying, and I think probably we're quite similar in the way we process that type of information. But I think that there's maybe something misleading about saying we're gonna like deal with it now and then allow ourselves to experience those emotions later, because you don't sit down and go, oh, okay, now's the time I'm going to process this emotionally. Let's go. Like, it's just not as neat as those words make it
yeah.
sound like it is.
It kind of festers at the back of your head, and it's just having that discipline to go, you are allowed to have these thoughts, you're allowed to have these emotions, but we cannot allow ourselves to let it take over our actions and our behavior. And it's just sort of like dealing with it in a controlled sense. In a, okay, we have this, but let's try our best. And that's the truth of it. Try our best to not let this affect us too much till we have a chance to really deal with it in a way that doesn't harm ourselves or people.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah, what I'm saying is that, like, until a time when we can deal with it, like, you don't just decide I'm going to deal with it today, or, oh, I'm going to put that off till next Tuesday because I'm busy right now. And so you can compartmentalize, but then I just feel like it just takes longer to then resolve.
Yeah, I mean, for me, actually, I do that. I do like the, well, shit,
okay.
we have...
I'll schedule this in.
Yeah, for me, I have to, because it's like, if I'm on the road and I'm like, well, I've got a show to do. A good example is this year I was filming something, and halfway through the recording, my grandma died. And it was this horrible realization at that point in time that this is just the first of many deaths I can't be there for, because I'm here now. I can't just fly back for every funeral. But I'm still in the middle of filming. So I have to not say like push it to the back, but like know that I have a job. I'm being paid to do this. If I share this with people around me right now, this will bring the mood down. This is going to affect everyone. So I have to be the responsible one and go, I have a job to do that I'm being paid for, that I love. And I will have to, unfortunately, not suppress, but sort of resist the urge to think about it and process it now and do my job. And once it's done, I will do it. I will take the time, which I did. The rest of that day, I just sat down, sat at home, thought about it, talked to people about it, like gave myself that space, gave myself a chance to not have to worry about anything else, don't even think about the work or comedy, have that time. But in the same way that if I'm going to give myself that time to deal with this, I need to give myself the time to do my job.
Yeah.
And it's that healthy respect for both things of like, I respect my emotions, but I also respect my professionalism.
Yeah. I think the difference then maybe between us is that I respect my professionalism, but I maybe don't respect my emotions enough.
Maybe it's like giving yourself that allowance to just feel your emotions. Like having that space of like, here's the time, do what you like. If you want to drink a bit more whiskey, go ahead. This is your time to feel you and have that respect that this is who you are and this is how you feel.
Yeah.
You can't clamp everything down.
I wish I was one of those people that just like cried at the drop of a pin.
Oh, I wish I could have that. I could get more acting gigs.
Mine's is a less cynical reason. Mine's is more of a just like, because they just seem to like, okay, I've cried, now I've processed it, off I go.
I'm always like, how do y'all do that? It takes so much out of me to even shed a little bit of a tear. It's not easy.
I don't cry ever.
Yeah, I think it's like years of, I guess, like hardening myself, but also there is a true fact that it's like, not say true fact, like someone said in the study could be false, that if you're unable to cry, you as easily as others, you're not able to process your emotions as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that study, when it comes to scientific studies, it's like anyone can put up a scientific paper. It's just how many times it's peer reviewed, what is the size of the study, but there might be a bit of truth in that. And when I saw that, I was like, maybe I gotta take more time out for myself to let myself feel emotions and not always be the proper professional. Like sometimes I need to.
I don't know,
feel.
Sam. Maybe we should just embrace the fact we're both dead inside.
I already have. I run shows. I'm a showrunner. Of course I'm dead on the inside. It's all about the money, SpongeBob.
Okay. So the reason that we got here is because we were talking about your response to play closing.
Yeah.
And then we've just gone off in this weird direction for a wee while. So let's go back to play. And I want to ask, now looking back, so it's been like, almost 10 years since it closed. What do you think that space taught you about yourself?
I mean, it taught me to just try things. I didn't have to take part in a talent competition. I didn't have to do stand-up. I didn't have to follow that drag queen to that bar. I didn't have to go to the finals and get there. I didn't have to keep going back, even though I got a free entry. I didn't have to sleep with all those guys, but I wanted to. And if I want to do something, I shouldn't feel afraid to sort of consider what other people think of me or feel about me. If that's something I want to do, if it doesn't hurt anybody else, why not give it a bash? We can regret it, but then there's a lesson as well. If we realize if we realize it was a bad choice, we can learn. We can pick up from our mistakes and we can continue on.
Or we can push down our emotions and not think about it ever again.
And we can just drink it to the bottom of the ocean. With some good old Lagavulin.
That is us for another week. Thank you again for joining us and sitting in on the conversation. If you loved this chat as much as I did, then why not go and give Sam some love on socials? I will make sure to share the link in the show notes for this episode, but just very quickly, he can be found on Instagram at Mr. Sam C, and that's Mr. M.R. Not Mr. M-I-S-T-R. Just look at the show notes, you'll see. And whilst you are following people on socials, if you've not already, find me on TikTok and Instagram at Lost Spaces Pod. And also make sure to subscribe to the Queer Word newsletter. The links are in the show notes for this episode. Right, I think I've told you to check the links in the show notes for this episode like 3 or 4 times now. So I will excuse myself. Thank you once more for joining us, and I will see you here next Wednesday.